Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited. I'm Nicola Barreto. Let's take a look at the headlines. Former CARICOM ambassador and cabinet member Kamaluddin Mohammed is praising the current administration for its commendable performance. National Security Minister John Sandy says joint army and police patrols will commence with immediate effect in an attempt to stem the upsurge in murders. And the Attorney General says new legislation will see dogs being placed into classes, with the most or more dangerous ones placed under Class A, while all other dogs will be grouped in Class B. Thank you for joining us to our top story. Former CARICOM ambassador and cabinet member Kamaluddin Mohammed is reflecting on the many successful years spent in service to the people of this region. He's also praising the current administration for its commendable performance, while offering words of advice for leading a successful and meaningful life.
A happy and functional family life, the key to success for every other area of life. The words of wisdom from former CARICOM ambassador and cabinet member Kamaluddin Mohammed, who reflected on some of the outstanding contributions he made in society from a very early age.
In order for a person to succeed in life, you must have a good family life. We are 13 brothers and sisters, and we lived here, and now it's only 3 of us left. But we lived in unity. We work with our neighbors next door who live right opposite there. There's a Hindu gentleman there, and he's one of my best friends. You know, and we try to, if you live in unity with your neighbors and your family, things will go good. If you don't live in unity, you will never be a success. So we need that to be inculcated in the minds of people, and we must preach it, write it, and we must extend it, starting from the schools again.
Apart from his great political contributions, Mr. Mohammed is well known for his engagement in religious and community work, as well as his pioneering contributions to the development of East Indian culture through radio and stage performance. He has also been the recipient of this country's highest national award and is also about to be conferred with the region's premium award, the Order of Caribbean Community, for which he says he is quite honored to receive.
CARICOM is a new institution, comparatively speaking, and it has done a lot for the integration of the Caribbean peoples. And I am one of the founders of that movement. So when they were considering the role that CARICOM has played, they decided they should award me the CARICOM award, which I appreciate very, very much.
The former politician, who just celebrated his 85th birthday, says he spent much of his youthful years serving members of his neighborhood at his father's side. He explained how much he enjoyed helping persons in his community, which also guided him to the path of politics.
I got into politics because my father was a leader of a panchayat. You know what a panchayat is? In the community in Sawa here, he was a leader. So whenever they had problems, my father presided over the panchayat, and I used to take a pen and take notes. So I grew up in the service of the people, so to speak. And he did a lot of work, and when I grew up, my neighbor was the Honorable Shankar Maharaj, the late Shankar Maharaj. And consequently, although he was my neighbor and I respected him very much, I was chosen by the PM to fight the St. Joseph constituency, and Shankar Maharaj fought, and I won the seat. So it was a big lift for me, and from then I have never lost the seat until in 1986, when the NAR came and they swept out the complete PNM from power.
While commenting on the current affairs of politics in Trinidad and Tobago in relation to its earlier state during his years in government, Mr. Mohammed says the current administration should be applauded for doing its best in spite of the circumstances.
We had people like Errol Mahabir, Bonnie Padmore, Cuthbert Joseph, and we worked with Dr. Williams, And we did a lot of work to help develop the country. So I would say it's not as dynamic as it was in the older days, but they're still going ahead and trying their best. And I think they're going reasonably well.
Veena Bharat, News 4.
As government seeks to get an upper hand over criminal activity, National Security Minister, retired Brigadier John Sandy, says joint army and police patrols will commence with immediate effect in an attempt to stem the upsurge in murders. He made the announcement at the weekly Cabinet News briefing, where he said the joint patrols will be targeting the areas where the killings have been occurring most often.
Joint patrols between the Army and police have been implemented as government looks to bring about an immediate crackdown on criminal activities. The announcement was made by National Security Minister, retired Brigadier John Sandy, at the weekly post-cabinet news conference.
There will be, from tonight, an increase in our joint patrols, police, army, with an effort to infiltrate those areas from which these homicides are being perpetrated. There are other operations for specific areas that I cannot disclose at this time, but every effort is being made by our law enforcement officers to ensure that this spate of serious crime is curtailed.
He noted the initiative was part of government's crime intervention thrust and is aimed at crime hotspots in and around the country.
We will be targeting the areas in which these killings have been occurring with frequency.
The minister added government was looking at taking proactive measures in reducing crime by encouraging family-based activities.
We feel that we ought to develop family relationships in Trinidad and Tobago, something that is on the wane, and we need to recover. It is my firm belief that once we get our family units back together, we'll get our communities back together, and then our criminal activity will subside.
All parents have been invited to a Father's Fair, which will be held under the patronage of President George Maxwell Richards. The fair seeks to encourage family togetherness, and parents are being told to bring their children to the grandstand at the Queen's Park Savannah in Port of Spain on June 16th for the event. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
More news after the break. Stay with us.
Homo sapien, we'll call him Mark. It spends its days trying to attract a mate. Success. What follows is a series of celebratory actions unique to this species. Every Homo sapien has their own way of displaying themselves to attract a female. But things don't go according to plan.
Where do you want to go?
No water, no love. Pay your water bill today.
The Water and Sewage Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. Water security for every sector. Deliver it. Sustain it.
There's a spark of greatness in each of us. That spark is called personality. Individual gifts and talents provide the fuel to set that spark ablaze. Each child has the right to an education which values their personality and nurtures their talents, while teaching them to be respectful to their parents and their cultures.
Attorney General Alan Robb-Logan says government has decided to accept the law reform position paper, which represents a new policy different from that which guided the already drafted Dangerous Dogs Act, following lengthy discussions with dog owners, groups, as well as all other stakeholders involved in the dog ownership. He says the new legislation will see dogs being placed into classes, with the more dangerous ones placed under Class A, while all other dogs will be grouped in Class B.
That legislation seeks to promote and ensure public safety with an accent on responsible ownership and control of dogs. We seek to categorize dogs in Class A and Class B. Class A would be those dogs that have traditionally exhibited a predisposition or a propensity for violent and aggressive behavior. And Class B would be other dogs that have not demonstrated such a capacity.
However, he noted that the new legislation would not ban the breeding of dangerous dogs, but would focus on responsible ownership of all dogs.
There will be insurance for a Class A type dog, which would be the ones that we would categorize as the more serious dogs that are prone to violent attacks and so on. And they would have to have insurance coverage up to a limit of $250,000 per dog. That is important because when people have been attacked, the cry for justice has been one that has fallen on deaf ears in terms of compensation. The establishment of a registration system and licensing system for dogs that fall in Class A, and the licenses that are proposed will be valid for a 2-year period. No such license will be issued to anyone under the age of 18 years of age. And if you have more than 2 dogs, the license fee will go up progressively on a tiered basis.
He added that under this, provisions will be made for the ownership of dogs by the protective services and persons breeding dogs commercially.
Training will have to be mandatory for all dogs that fall in Class A. So if you want to own a dangerous dog, you must not only meet the fencing requirements, you must not only have insurance in place, but you will have to get that dog trained. And that will be a mandatory requirement. Special provision is also made for commercial dog breeders and kennel operators. The municipal corporation will have the power to make special rules to treat with such entities.
The Attorney General expressed hope in the legislation's capability in striking the right balance between public safety and the constitutional right of persons to own a pet dog of their choice. National Quarries has embarked on an exercise of the rehabilitation of the environment and the community as a whole. The company recently invited the Minister of Energy and Energy Affairs, the Honorable Kevin Ramnarine, and Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, Roger Samuel, to a ceremonious tree planting ceremony held at the Scots Road Quarry in Arima. Minister Samuel, who is also the Member of Parliament for Arima, expressed his elation with the steps being taken by National Quarries to give back to the community.
Tremendously elated this morning by this initiative because we are attempting to restore the things that nature has so provided for us. This initiative says that National Quarries is quite at the forefront of looking to see how we can restore and redevelop the things that have been destroyed. We see that National Quarries again has taken the lead of it in helping to patch some roads and which needs patching and helping to now replant and restore the areas that needs reforestation, and for that I want to applaud you.
National Quarries is undertaking a massive campaign to underline its role as a responsible corporate entity. This campaign involves creating various forms of employment and recreation and fixing roads in the communities it operates in. Chairman of National Quarries Board of Directors Mitra Ramkilawan, while speaking at the ceremony, revealed some of the plans the quarry has for the Arima area.
An eco lodge for 25 persons where you can come, you can stay, you can interact with the with the environment and things like that. We're going to have service campsites with concreted slabs, outdoor cooking facilities and washing facilities. So schools and even persons wanting to can come and they can access a secure, safe campsite with facilities and become part and become integrated with the environment, because that's the only way to really appreciate what nature has to offer and why the importance of preserving nature. We also want to establish a research and education center to monitor the biodiversity of the valley and the surrounding ecosystem to ensure that encroachment is minimized and the valley remains as much as possible in its natural state.
Energy Minister Kevin Ramnarine was also on hand to issue a stern warning to potential quarries about the importance of environmental consciousness. He said any applications for new quarries, in addition to getting a license from the Ministry of Energy, will have to get a certificate of environmental clearance. He added that the ministry is taking an aggressive stance on issues under its purview, including quarrying and petroleum manufacturing and sales.
We will be taking at the Ministry of Energy a very strong course of action against people who violate the law. And as recent as 2 weeks ago, we had cause to stop supplying gasoline and diesel to a gas station in Barataria, and that gas station, if you drive down the bus route, that gas station is now shut down. So we are sending that signal to people out there that you have to conduct your business within the confines of the law, or action will be taken and your business will be taken away from you.
The minister was also, however, the bearer of good news, as motorsports enthusiasts would be glad to know they haven't been forgotten.
I am in talks right now with my colleague, the Minister of Tourism, who is also the Member of Parliament for Toco Sangre Grande. And what we are discussing is the use of abandoned quarries in East Trinidad for the motorsports industry. And at first, when you think about it, it might be a bit strange, but when you actually go and see the quarry itself, the abandoned quarry, it's a perfect environment for rally car racing. It's a perfect environment for monster truck and dirt bike and so on. So you could take those abandoned quarries in East Trinidad and create a vibrant business out of them.
Minister Ram Narayan says a definite time frame isn't yet in place for the development, but assures motorsport enthusiasts that the process has begun. Gregory McBurney, News 4.
Wayne Cunningham has a sport report right after the break.
I'm Natasha, and like most Trinbagonians, I love the beach. The beach can be fun, but we have to be tsunami smart and know the warning signs. You're at the beach and you feel the earth shake. Run. You see the water moving an unusual distance out from the shore. Run. You hear a strange roar from the sea. Run. If you experience any of these warning signs, run to higher ground. Be tsunami smart and know the natural warning signs. They could save your life.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Management, United States Agency for International Development, Caribbean Disaster and Emergency Management Agency, UWI Seismic Research Center, and the European Union.
The Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service has been the dominant team in the March Past competition at the Ministry of National Security Sports and Family Day for the past 4 years. News 4 Sports caught up with the team responsible for their phenomenal routines and discovered the reason for their success is quite simple. Wayne Cunningham has the story.
Fire Sub-Officer Anton Blackman, along with firefighters Timothy Grant and Devon Gibson, make up the team responsible for the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service's dominance of the Ministry of National Security March Past competition. This year, they captured their 4th successive title with another dazzling routine. Timothy Grant explained the theme behind the 2012 presentation.
For national security, the team was mind and body in a positive motion, and when we thought about the mind and body, we think in a whole karate aspect. And the whole Avengers team, we decided to bring it in because right now it's a movie that was really rating. The ratings were very high in it, and most people had an idea of what it was. So we had most of the precision started with Devon Gibson. The karate came in with Anton Blackman, and the ending with some of the eyes right is where I came into the play, and we all kind of mixed the ideas, brought it together.
Four titles is quite an achievement, more so in a competition amongst services who incorporate marching as part of their regular routine. We asked the fire crew what gave them the edge over the competition.
What really gives us the edge is that it's not one person working together. The fact that we sit down, and even if Gibson bring an idea, we decide that we could tweak it a little bit. I may tweak it, Blackman tweak it, and I think the unity and the togetherness, that's what keeps us together, where I think we have a saying that we check the egos by the door.
There were some detractors leading up to the fire four-peat.
A lot of people told us it wasn't possible for fire service to win 4 years in a row, but we showed them. I told my team impossible is nothing, and we came together and we really represented. And again, once again, it's the unity and the togetherness, because I don't think any of us, if we had to do it by ourselves, would have been this successful, because they felt that 3 things could be done at one time, because sometimes Gibson is working in a corner, Blackman is working in one corner, I'm working in one corner, and that really brings it together. And when everything comes together, magic, beautiful.
Friendly threats also came in from some other arms in national security.
A lot of people sent threats. Defense force, prisons, police, they sent threats over and over telling us, hey, it's not possible for us to win again. And I think that gave them a little extra drive, knowing that we're the 3-time defending, now 4-time defending champions. So that gave them an extra vibe. Right now they're elated. They're just ready to come out on the field and carry on the same thing. They're going to take the overall champions for the day right now.
We asked, what's in store for next year? This was the reaction.
Well, what happened is we can't really let the cat out of the bag, right? As we said before, every time we come together, magic does happen. So next year, just stay tuned, come out to the numbers, and be prepared to see magic happening.
Next year, look forward for a production. Fire service march past display is a movie. Put the microwave popcorn, get it to the moments, get the BBM ready, and we'll be there.
Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
When we come back, fulfilling the promise.
You will see how we have been retasked with a newly equipped CSI division and data systems that not only put crime fighting logistics at our fingertips, but those of CSI units throughout the world. And you will see how our police service has been reborn with a new sense of pride, a new sense of duty, and a new sense of community service that demonstrates that protect and serve means we are really here to protect and serve you, and to do it with pride. Each of us has chosen to serve, to do public service, to be here for you in some of life's most terrifying and saddest moments, to listen, to help, to be there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our hearts and minds will never close.
In our special feature, Fulfilling the Promise, we highlight the initiatives and achievements of the government over its 2 years in office. At News 4, we've joined in that effort, and each day in our news package, we feature one of those highlights from the long and impressive list of milestones over these 24 months. In this story, we look at the opening of the Phase 1 of the San Juan Market.
Two of the 3 completed buildings of the San Juan Market are now open for public use. The project has been in the making for the past 12 years, but while the project is yet to be completed, Minister in the Ministry of Local Government, Rudranath Indar Singh, noted that his ministry remained committed to delivering to the people. He made the comments while delivering his feature speech at the opening of the new buildings.
We are moving towards the completion of the entire market complex. And this is in itself part of this government's commitment and philosophy from the point of view of local government to ensure that markets that fall under the purview of the 14 regional corporations throughout the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago is upgraded to a form and fashion that all stakeholders, inclusive of vendors, inclusive of consumers, and inclusive of all those who would utilize these facilities, would feel a sense of pride, a sense of patriotism.
The modern facilities will house close to 400 vendors when completed. The minister also took the time to urge vendors and visitors at the market to be mindful of preserving the building and its environs to the highest level.
I give you the assurance that the completion of this complex would have the thorough support of the Ministry of Local Government and the People's Partnership Government, And in relation to this particular facility, I want to appeal to the Sawa-Laventille Regional Corporation and all the stakeholders to ensure that the pristine condition, the environment and so on, is upheld in a thorough manner.
He maintained that improving the services at the market required continuous dialogue with all parties.
The political directorate will continue to have a deep sense of dialogue with the Sawa-Laventille Regional Corporation and also all the stakeholders so that we could have a thorough and a true appreciation of the needs of the Burgesses as we move towards delivering and as we move towards satisfying the Burgesses of approximately 150,000 who would use these particular facilities.
The new facilities include shopping comfort for patrons in a fully air-conditioned enclosure, while vendors have access to cold storage equipment that would aid in keeping meat fresh.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of course, our News 4 report. We thank you so much for joining us. I'm Nicola Barreto. Do enjoy the rest of your day.